Okay, this tutorial is starting the assembly on the double slider ride. So we're going to take the slider, we're going to put it into the base that you've created. We're going to do that so we can get a measurement from pin to pin to see how big we need to make the platform. So we're going to go ahead and get out of our slider here, start a new assembly. Make sure you click assembly, not part, and this is going to be the slider ride. And this will be kind of a work in progress here as you create different parts for this. I would definitely kind of work under the thinking that you finish a part completely, then you add it to the assembly, then you finish another part completely, then you add it to the assembly as much as possible. Don't leave a lot of things incomplete and then add them and then have to go back and change them. So we're going to start with our base. We're going to go ahead and add this assemble base, hit OK. And this will be important that this is the default part, this is the main part, this locks it to the Cartesian coordinates XYZ axis, and go ahead and accept this. And there's our base. And notice how I have the planes running through the center of these dovetail cutouts. We're going to use those for this assembly. So if you don't have that, you need to either go back and add a datum plane from the side, and move it in the correct number. So if the total distance was 100, you would make a datum plane parallel to this edge and move it in 50. Or you need to go ahead and go back to your two-dimensional drawing and center these planes, because we're going to need this to put it together properly. So now we're going to assemble a slider, and you can see that it roughly comes in where it's supposed to go. If you want, you can kind of drag it over here, and then we'll go ahead and say the center plane. And so here again we need a plane down the middle. This plane needs to align with this plane, and you can see that it's aligned those two, so it's in the right spot. And then we're going to say, okay, the underside of this slider, so that surface is going to touch that surface. Okay, and once you accept this, it is out here, but you can go up to this drag components tool, and you can click on the actual slider top, and it should slide right in here, and you can see it has movement, so you can test this out and see if it works correctly. So I'm going to slide it almost out to the edge, but not outside the actual dovetail cutout, and that's where I want to have its maximum movement. So I'm going to click OK here, close, add the second slider. So here's another slider. You're basically going to do the same thing, but on the other cutouts. We're going to say this plane is going to align with this plane. Okay, and you can see that what happened? Nothing. So let's change this to coincident, and now when you look at it, okay, it moved over here and it's aligning. And then the second constraint is that the underside of this slider would go ahead and touch the top, or excuse me, the bottom of this cutout, and then you should be good. So we're going to try this one as well and make sure that it's sliding properly. If this is not sliding, something's wrong, and you would need to reassemble this and make sure that these are moving before we go ahead and put the platform on top of this. Because if these don't move, your platform's not going to move. So you need to build this from the ground up so everything's working. And what I want to know is, I want to know what the distance is between these pegs, because that's going to be the distance, or the maximum distance, between the holes in my platform. So we're going to use this analysis tab at the top, go to measure, and we're going to measure the distance from, and this could be a rough measurement if you want. Now I'd like to get that axis running through the middle. It's kind of tricky to click on here. Maybe if I zoom in, there you go. From there, and then zoom in over here. Now you do have to hold the control key down to measure between these. So control and then click, and you can see it's telling me a distance of 54. Alright, so it's actually 54 in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and write down on my paper that I want the holes 54 inches apart. And so the next tutorial will be building the platform with holes 54 inches apart.